The War on Words, Reclaiming Female Language and Reality. This Mother's Day, it's time to confront the systematic erasure of female-specific language that has accelerated at an alarming pace. What began as requests for inclusion has morphed into demands that women surrender the very words that define their biological experiences. This linguistic colonization must end. Women's biology is not up for negotiation, and neither are the words that describe it. Stopping the deception at its source, the term trans woman. The very phrase trans woman is where the linguistic manipulation begins. By attaching the word woman to males who identify as female, we're implicitly validating the false notion that these individuals are a subcategory of women. They are not. They are men. Biological males who may undergo cosmetic surgeries and take cross-sex hormones, but remain male at the cellular level. When we say trans women, our brains process the word women, creating an unconscious association that bypasses critical thinking. This is precisely why this terminology was pushed so aggressively. It's a form of linguistic programming that subtly coerces society into accepting a fundamental falsehood. Men who identify as women should be accurately described as what they are, men who identify as women, or males who identify as female. This isn't about denying anyone's humanity, it's about refusing to participate in a distortion of reality. We don't allow people to dictate how others must refer to them in any other context. A person cannot demand to be called Your Highness or the most intelligent person alive and expect compliance. Yet somehow, society has been bullied into accepting that males can demand to be called she and included in the category woman, despite objective reality. The deliberate distortion of reality. Sex assigned at birth, the first linguistic sleight of hand. When a baby is born, their sex isn't assigned like homework or a job role. Sex is observed and recorded, an immutable biological reality established at conception. Yet organizations like Planned Parenthood have aggressively promoted phrases like assigned female at birth to imply that doctors are making arbitrary guesses rather than noting obvious biological facts. This language trick serves to disconnect women from their biological reality and suggests that being female is merely a label that can be rejected. It's no accident that we don't see other biological realities described this way. No one speaks of height assigned at birth or eye color assigned at birth. From women to birthing people, major medical organizations have fallen in line with this linguistic purge. Women are now routinely referred to as menstruators, people with cervixes, or pregnant people in official medical communications. When the British medical journal The Lancet featured a cover referring to bodies with vaginas instead of women, it demonstrated how far this erasure had gone. Female biology was reduced to body parts while simultaneously removing the word women from discussions about female health. Motherhood under attack. The linguistic colonization of motherhood. This Mother's Day, we're expected to pretend that anyone can be a mother regardless of biology. But motherhood isn't merely a social role or identity. It's a biological relationship that begins with pregnancy and continues through breastfeeding and beyond. Yet we've seen countless examples of biological males being celebrated as mothers. Caitlyn Jenner, despite having fathered 6 children as Bruce Jenner, was featured on Vanity Fair's Call Me Mother campaign, effectively demanding that Jenner's children reject the reality of their parents' fatherhood. Time magazine celebrated a male who identifies as female as the first transgender mom to breastfeed. Despite the biological impossibility of actual breastfeeding, the individual used hormone therapy and a supplemental nursing system. The New York Times ran a feature about pregnant men and male mothers, twisting language to present biological females who identify as men as something other than what they are, women who became pregnant. The case of fired breastfeeding consultant. In a particularly egregious case, Catherine Deves, an experienced breastfeeding consultant in the UK, was fired from her position for stating the biological fact that men cannot breastfeed. After years of helping mothers successfully nurse their infants, her career was destroyed for refusing to deny basic biology. What makes this case even more disturbing is the complete disregard for infant safety. The hormonal cocktails used by males attempting to induce lactation have not been studied for their effects on infant development. These drugs include domperidone, not FDA approved in the US due to cardiac risk concerns, estradiol, and progesterone, none of which have been adequately studied for their impact on nursing infants. Medical professionals who've raised concerns about potential developmental impacts, hormone disruption, and cardiovascular risks to infants consuming these substances have been systematically silenced and accused of transphobia for prioritizing child safety over adult validation. Furthermore, the images often celebrated in media of males attempting to breastfeed frequently display inappropriate expressions of pleasure, suggesting a sexualized component to what should be about infant nutrition, raising serious concerns about the exploitation of infants for adult gratification. The narcissistic demand. Consider the breathtaking narcissism behind expecting children to deny their own lived reality. Children who have known their father as dad for years are suddenly told this person is now mom or a second mother. Their own experience and emotional reality must be sacrificed at the altar of adult validation. This happened to the children of celebrity, transparent creator Joey Soloway, who announced that they prefer to be called parent rather than mother despite having given birth. The children were expected to adjust their language and understanding of their own family structure overnight. The institutional capture. Planned Parenthood, once focused on women's reproductive health, now prominently features language on their website stating that some men have a uterus and offers guidance on chest feeding rather than breastfeeding. Their materials systematically remove words like women and female in favor of neutral language that obscures biological reality. The American Academy of Pediatrics now refers to chest feeding instead of breastfeeding in some publications, despite the fact that breasts are specifically female anatomical structures evolved for the purpose of nourishing infants. The NCAA and International Olympic Committee have adopted policies allowing males who identify as women to compete in women's categories, effectively erasing the purpose of sex-segregated sports while referring to these males as female athletes. Reclaiming reality through language. Women must reclaim their language. This isn't merely semantic quibbling. It's about whether women have the right to name and discuss their own bodies and experiences. Only women get pregnant. Pregnancy is exclusively female. Only women give birth. Childbirth is exclusively female. Only women breastfeed. Males lack the mammary glands required for lactation. Only women experience menstruation, menopause, and gynecological conditions. No amount of hormones, surgeries, or identity claims can transform a male into someone who experiences these female realities. Just as a white person claiming to identify as Black would be immediately recognized as engaging in offensive appropriation, males claiming womanhood are appropriating an identity and experiences they can never truly have. This Mother's Day, a call to linguistic clarity. This Mother's Day, let's honor actual mothers, the women whose bodies conceived, carried, birthed, and nourished children. Let's reject the notion that motherhood is merely a social role that anyone can claim regardless of biology. Women must firmly say, our words are not up for grabs. Woman, mother, female, she, and her are terms that refer to biological reality. They aren't costumes to be worn or identities to be claimed. They describe the immutable condition of being female. The first step is simple but powerful. Stop using the term trans woman. These individuals are men who identify as women. Using accurate language is the foundation of reclaiming reality from those who would distort it. The spell of confusion can only be broken when we reclaim clear, truthful language. Biology isn't bigotry. Reality isn't hate. And women deserve better than to have their very existence linguistically erased.